Kermit's fighting the long Furbies.
What? I love the music.
I know.
Kermit's being drowned.
Yeah. Kermit's dead.
Oh my god.
Cookie killed him.
The LaCroix.
They're really good.
That was a great start to this video.
Everyone should follow long.furby.fam on Instagram.
Don't do it. Hey guys, it's Ashley and I'm here with Amanda, my sister, and we're gonna give you some book recommendations. I asked you guys on Instagram on one of my posts to ask me for book recommendations so that I could make this video, because I've always wanted to make this kind of video where I just like give you straight up recommendations for whatever you're wanting right now. And I figured because Amanda has such different book tastes than I do, this would be a good way to give you all the things. Anyway, okay, so we're just gonna start picking stuff and start recommending books. I'll go first. A great sci-fi book slash series. I've already read The Illuminae Files. And I'll get one.
Wait, do I have to get it?
No, you don't have to. I can just put a picture of it up on the thing.
But I have it in my room.
Oh, if you want to go get it, you can, but you don't have to. Okay. For me, I'm gonna say Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I've talked about it a lot on my channel. It's a really great sci-fi. I loved it, and the second book gets really good too, so that's what I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna say Nova by Samuel Delaney. I had to read it in my sci-fi class in college, and I was the only person in my entire class who raised my hand when my professor asked who liked it. I think he's a really underrated sci-fi author.
What's it about?
Not like a team, but a bunch of like people who work on a spaceship.
Ship?
Yeah. And they have to go from like one planet to another, and they have to go through like a supernova while they do it, but it's like kind of involves cyborgs and stuff.
A book on mythology?
Fuck, that's the only one I didn't bring. I have like 5 of those.
You can just say it. I'm gonna grab mine.
Oh, and you're not allowed to say Percy Jackson.
I'm not. I'm saying a different Rick Riordan.
No, it can't. No,
Presents.
no, it can't do anything with him. Because everyone says that.
What?
He's like everyone.
What?
Everyone knows. Even me, who I don't read his books. I know that's the only thing he knows how to write.
But he didn't write this.
Okay, but it involves
He
him.
published it. I'm gonna say The Storm Runner.
Lame.
Even though Amanda doesn't think that I should, because I don't think I've literally read any other mythological books other than ones that are in any way related to Rick Riordan.
I'm gonna say A Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I think that's who wrote it.
I've wanted to read it. I know that a lot of people have read it.
It's really sad, but it's really good. It's a really good like fictional retelling of like Achilles, yeah, and like the Iliad and whatever. Whoever wrote that old thing. Oh, fast-paced thriller is another one she asked. I have a really extremely slow-paced thriller.
Yeah, I don't know if any of these are like super fast-paced, but
Yeah.
I guess I can go with One of Us is Lying is a good thriller. Whether it's fast-paced or not is, I guess, up to you, but I found it really good. Mine
would be The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, my favorite author. Extremely slow-paced thriller.
It's the opposite of what you're looking for.
It's super
but
slow,
really good.
but it's good as fuck. Oh, this is a good one. A fantasy series that focus less or nothing on love interests and more in friendships. Specifically, female-female friendship.
Oh
Instead of having all of the females rivaling each other. Just say it. You want a lesbian fantasy series. Don't we all?
Yeah, but she doesn't want love interest.
Yeah. It's only friends.
Yeah, so...
I've got a good one. I picked this one specifically because I have a good answer for it.
I mean, you can go first this time if you want.
No, you can go first.
Okay. I mean, I guess if you want a fantasy that doesn't really have much romance, I really liked Scythe, because I've talked about it so much recently, by Neil Shusterman. I don't have the physical copy here, but it's really good. It's like a different fantasy than like an epic fantasy or anything like that. It's more of like a utopian sort of thing, but it doesn't have any romance. It has like the hint of a romance, but it's like not enough that like it's barely there.
Mine is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. This is the 3rd book in the series. Mostly I only grabbed this one because it was on top of all of the other books, and I didn't want to knock the tower down. I thought you were going to say it's the
only one that you've read. You went right into the 3rd book.
The 3rd book. It's a really good series though. Again, like little to no love interest. It is a really long series though, and like the books progressively get really big. The movie sucked, so don't watch the movie. Oh yeah, this one, there's not very many females in it, and the females that are in
what a great book to pick for that recommendation. A cozy autumnal book recommendation and a spooky book recommendation. So like a happy book?
I don't think I've read one happy book in my lifetime.
That's good. No, yeah, didn't you read Carry On?
Yeah, I did read that book. Oh my god, I read that book in like freshman year of high school.
Yeah, because I remember when I read it, I kept finding like your note cards or like things were like the pages were folded or whatever.
Oh,
you
when
would,
I
like, put stuff in it?
Yeah, when I fold the pages to like mark my place, I never unfold the pages. So I get really confused when I go back to open a book to start reading again and all of the pages are dog-eared. Yeah, see, I have all sorts of things in my books. This one, specifically, is a Van Gogh painting of the Postman. So in this book, there's a painting by Klimt. I'm gonna read you excerpts from this book, Ashley. The shallow creek was iced over except in the middle, where a rill of gurgles rolled like tinkly tinkly. Yodelay hee!
Ew.
No, that was
Oh. That was it?
That was the comment. That's because they want them to realize mud is better than words, boy. What book is this from?
I have no fucking idea.
Uneducated.
Okay, this took me a lot longer than expected because, I don't know, I feel like some people's ideas of a cozy autumnal book is different than mine. I don't know, I picked City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab because it's like kind of spooky, but also it's middle grade, so it's like not super spooky, but then also like it's very autumnal because it's spooky. Anyway, what's your pick for an autumn spooky book?
Well, my spooky book, it's not like it's like a collection of short stories. It's another Stephen King book. It's my favorite collection of his short stories. It's The Night Shift. It's very graphic, a lot of them, specifically in this collection, but I think it's really good. There's a one story called The Mangler. It's about a like a warehouse conveyor belt that eats people. A lot of his short stories, they all end up being like connected in the end. Like there's one like little thing that is the same in all of the stories, whether it's like a character or like a phrase or something, which I really love.
Yeah,
but this is a really fun one.
This is freaking terrifying.
Oh, this one's actually a little spooky too. It's definitely
The Little Friend.
It's more of a thriller. It's called The Little Friend. It's just about it's about a young girl who her younger brother was lynched when he was younger. Yeah, when he was like I think like 12 or 13.
Oh jeez.
And she decides she wants to figure out who did it. I think it's really spooky, but it's really, it's a good read.
I need to read a Donna Tartt book.
Another Donna Tartt, which queen. She's so amazing. Something fantasy that has Percy Jackson vibes.
Oh, I do have a book for that.
Specifically Percy Jackson vibes?
I used to recommend this book all the time years ago because it felt so much like Percy Jackson for me. It's called The Adventurers Guild by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Iliopoulos. But it's another middle grade. I love middle grade books, okay? But it's really cute and it like really feels like Percy Jackson when you read it.
Can you define Percy Jackson vibes for me?
Percy Jackson vibes is like adventure.
I only read the first 3 Percy Jackson books.
Like adventure, fun, kind of like, I always describe it as like childish humor, where like you have to like understand that you're reading a book meant for like 8 to 12-year-olds.
I was about to ask, is the Percy Jackson series, is that a middle grade series?
This one I really love. I've meant to get to the sequel like years ago and I never did. But
I love the first one.
It's really
so much.
great.
I don't think I have one for that.
I don't think you do either. Fantasy with morally gray main characters that do anything to get what they want.
Ooh, that's a really... Ooh, I feel like I have one.
I mean, it just sounds
I'll be right back.
Okay. It just sounds like you're describing Vicious by V.E. Schwab.
Like you specifically want us to answer with that one.
Like it just sounds like either like you read this book and you really want something that is also like it, in which case I have to think about that because this is really the one book that I can think of that goes with that sort of recommendation or whatever, what you're asking for. But this is definitely like morally gray characters because what they're doing is wrong, but like they don't believe that it's wrong, and like they're both kind of like super villains in a way, and it's like it's so good. It's so good.
No, I don't have one. But I brought with me A Song of Achilles, which I was right, it is by Madeline Miller.
Oh, good for you. Do you have any books that have morally gray main characters?
What is that? I literally borrowed this and she had it for like a year. And she knows me so well. This is my best friend. It's a bookmark with her school picture from 2012 on it.
Oh my god.
And below it says, "A room without a book is like a body without a soul." And that is apparently quoted from Cicero. Morally gray characters, the Goldfinch, 100%. Like 120%. Dark Academia, fall vibes. Let's do that one because I have a specific one for that too. But you have to
Dark
tell us yours
Academia,
first.
I
Ashley
honestly
loves Dark Academia.
I love the idea of it, but I don't honestly think I've ever read a book that's like Dark Academia, like genuinely. Like I don't, like I know that everybody, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say The Secret History.
Yeah, 100% I'm gonna say The Secret History.
Which I haven't read, and I know that that's like, everybody talks about The Secret History as like a Dark Academia book, but I've never read it, so like, I don't know, books that give me like that sort of vibe. I just read A Study in Charlotte, which like, boarding school, slightly British people, like, in the winter, it might be in the winter, I don't really know. Maybe, I don't know.
No, you've gotta read The Secret History. I've read it 4 times, and it's one of my all-time favorite books. Really, like, it gets
Maybe
you.
I should add it to my fall
gets
TBR.
you. Yeah, you have to buy your own copy though, because that's my copy.
Okay. Now somebody just wants a YA fantasy or romance or historical fiction. Just a general recommendation.
So is this like, yeah, wait, is this 3 different books?
I think they
Or
just meant
one that
one
involves
of
all of
them.
it. Okay.
Oh.
One that
historical
involves...
fiction, fantasy, romance?
What?
Oh my god! Wait, The Last Magician! It's a fantasy because it's a fantasy. There are like people with like different powers and stuff. But then it's a historical fiction because it takes place in 1902 New York. And it's also a romance because the main character ends up having a romance. Oh my god, it's perfect. If you were looking for a book with all 3 of those things, pick this up. If you were looking for just one of those things, also pick this up.
But if you're looking for something with 2 of those things but not the 3rd one, don't pick this up. Because as Ashley has iterated, it has all 3 of those things in it. I haven't gotten that far yet, so I'm not completely sure if it has fantasy in it. But I am reading this riveting tale about Alexander the Great. It's called Alexander, Volume 1. Child of a Dream. It's historical. It's about Alexander the Great, which is really cool.
But apparently it's also kind of fictional.
Oh, it's definitely, it's certainly fictional. When I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was a nonfiction, and I didn't open the book before I bought it, and then once I started reading it, I was like, this is not based off of history. It's basically just a story using Alexander Great as the main character. I also found out that it's like a really popular Italian series that was translated into English.
Are you serious?
Yeah, isn't that really like kind of strange? Yeah, I ended up Googling it because I was like, what the fuck am I reading?
I'll give you this one because I don't have an answer, I don't think. Nonfiction you've been into lately.
Well, is nonfiction like memoirs and stuff? Yeah. Okay. Well, I just finished Robin Lee Graham's memoir. It's called Dove. It's on my desk in my room, but I don't feel like getting up.
Don't worry.
He was the youngest individual to sail around the world. He was 16 when he set sail, and it's a really, really beautiful book. He's really funny in it. Like, it's like very sarcastic.
Okay, I want to put this one in here because I want to give a recommendation for what not to read, which is the opposite of what we're doing here, but just go with it. Adult fantasy that isn't too hard to read. Let me explain. If you're looking for an adult fantasy that is not difficult to get into, do not read Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas because I thought that is what I was going to be getting into, and this world is so weird and so confusing. I'm on page like nearly 300 and I'm still extremely confused as to like the names of the cities and like the people that run it and like the hierarchies. There are like a million names to things that they just keep bringing up like casually, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
When I first started reading the Game of Thrones series, which I now realize I have read a fantasy series.
Oh look, there
that's
you go.
Game of Thrones.
It's hard though.
It's hard. I think I only actually got to like the 3rd book, I think.
Oh, okay.
Which seems to be a trend for me in
I
series.
mean, that's more than I got to. I got
Yeah.
to, I think, like 100 pages into the 1st book, and then I
Lame.
gave up. But I only gave up because I'd already seen the show, so I was like, this is literally just what I watched. I don't feel like reading this.
I
So
was
stopped.
reading and watching at the same time, but it's just like that. Like, there's so many names and there's so many people that it's like...
Yeah, and sometimes, like I've read fantasies where there's a lot of that, and I'm totally fine with it. And, like, I can, like, clear... But it's, like, in Crescent City, it's, like, all thrown at you in the beginning, and then it's only referenced, like, you know, casually here and there, and it's, you always have to go back to that, like, introduction to it to remember. I must have turned to the map, like, 6 times since starting this book, because I'm like, I don't know what anything is. A Darker Shade of Magic is wonderful. Yeah, A Darker Shade of Magic is an adult, and it's, like, so good. It's so easy to understand. It's just, like, adult fantasy for people who don't really...
want to try.
Yeah, who want something that, like, feels like a YA fantasy, but is classified as adult. There you go.
I say Game of Thrones. Fucking just go at it.
Just do it. Unique fantasy book or series, something very original that you never encountered in other books. Actually, I do have one for this. It's Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, which I'm reading for a video that I haven't told anybody that I'm making yet, so secret video. But I read this recently and it was really good. But the thing that makes it unique from other fantasies that I've read is because it involves like a sewing competition, and like the main character is like a seamstress who has to go across the lands to like sew these like 3 like dresses that are only told in like myths and legends and whatever in order to like become the imperial seamstress of the...
That's really cool,
whatever.
actually.
But it's really interesting because
super
it's like...
niche and I love it.
Yeah. It was an interesting fantasy story, but it was really good.
Book with an ensemble cast featuring good friendships.
Or any relationship, really. And maybe with historical or fantastical element. More than one perspective. Oh my god. Okay, wait. Ensemble cast featuring good friendships or any relationship, and maybe with historical or a fantastical element. Maybe perspective.
Contemporary books with a male main character that is going through a lot in his life.
That's actually the one that I wanted to do.
I think that's actually me.
You're a male main character.
Yeah.
Felix Ever After
Going through a lot
by
in life.
Case and Calendar.
I bought this book for her. I did. Me.
Yeah, and then I paid her back for it.
Yeah.
Book about a male trans main character who is going through a lot of shit.
Mine is... Where did I put it? The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Richard goes through some shit. That's all I gotta say.
Cool.
If you know, you know.
There's one more that I saw that I really wanted to... Oh, books that bring up larger issues in society. I like that question.
That's a really good question.
I have 2. So the first is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, which is a fantasy. So if you want an adult fantasy story that brings up larger issues in society, read this one. I didn't understand what it was about in the beginning, but then by the end I realized like what exactly it was trying to say, and it does relate sort of to the Black Lives Matter movement because the author is a black woman, and yeah, there's just a lot of like oppression and stuff in this book, which really kind of like parallels the real world in some ways. And then if you want a contemporary, I also just recently read Beartown by Frederick Backman, which again is for that video that I haven't told anybody that I was making, but I read this book. It was phenomenal. It's very dark at times. There are like, I would put like content warnings for like rape and sexual assault and suicidal thoughts and things like that. It can get very dark, but the book itself is like just a really good like discussion on everything. It's so good. It's just really, 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 really good. Like I said that it was so good that she wants to read it. And she never reads anything that I recommend.
That's true.
Read Beartown if you're looking for something that's like just really like speaks to a lot of things. It's so good. Do you want to do random recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Recommendations that you didn't ask for, but I want to recommend to you anyways. Let me touch on this bad boy. The Bible. It's it by Stevie King. There is something in this book. Oh, my library's compute bookmark. Super good book. Ashley is too scared to read it. It's not that scary. I mean, unless you get scared really easily, it's not scary. I think everyone knows what it's about. It's about a killer clown that takes the form of your fears. I think Ashley should read it for October.
I might. I'll consider it. I'll consider it. Random recommendation, The Silence of Bones by June Her, which is a historical fiction like murder mystery set in the Joseon era of Korea back in like the 1800s. It's really good. Kind of spooky in a way because it's like a murder mystery, I guess, but also historical. So there's a lot of like rules to society that are different than what are now and like stuff like that. So kind of has like multi-layers to it. Lots of plot twists. Lots of them. So
that one sounds
it's
good.
really good.
Another Stephen King recommendation. Halloween's coming up. This is his Mr. Mercedes series. This is just the first book in that series.
It's a series?
Yes, there's 3. You can also fact check me on that. I think I've only read 3 of them. It's about a serial killer. It's really good though. Random recommendation, With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which I feel like is her least talked about book out of the 3 of them. It's has a lot of like focus on family, and it's about this girl who really wants to be like a chef, but she had a child in high school, and so she like has to choose between like graduating and like going to college for what her dreams and what she really wants to do, or between like getting a job right away and like trying to support her family and stuff like that. And it's like got a lot of like serious topics to it, but it's also like really good, and also she cooks a lot of food and it makes you really hungry. But it's like, it's her like least talked about book from Elizabeth Acevedo, but it's still like just as good as the other ones. My last recommendation is another Stephen King book. Ashley bought me this one for my birthday actually, and it's my favorite Stephen King story. It's a novella, so it's really little. It's the movie, if anyone has seen it, Stand By Me. It's like from the 80s, I think. It's actually based off of this book, but it's just about 4 like younger boys who go out in the woods in search of a dead body, basically. A little spooky. It's really good. Oh, they're 12. 12-year-old Gordy LaChance and his 3 friends. Gordy.
Woo! That's it. Sorry if we didn't get to your request. Maybe there will be a part 2 to this at some point. It might just be me giving recommendations because she's kind of talked about every book that she's read, so...
That's not true! I promise that's not true. I have read every single one of John Green's books. Am I proud of it? No! But was I really lonely in middle school? Yes!
Wait, I want to give one more recommendation before we go. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. It's another thriller / like murder mystery, but it's told like part through like regular narrative and then part through like interviews, and there might also be a podcast in here, I'm not 100% sure, but it's really good. It's another like thriller sort of spooky book that you can read during fall, October-ish. Highly recommend. I really liked it. It was very gripping, so yeah. Just before we went. Okay, that's it. That's all the recommendations. So I think that's gonna be it for this video, you guys. If you want to follow me on any of my socials, all my links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Goodbye.
Okay, if you guys want to follow me on any of my socials, I do have a riveting account at Myra and the Fish. Really great content on there, so hit that up.
Okay, that will be in the description below.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye!